Don't worry about SEO. Don't worry about tags. Don't worry about descriptions. Don't worry about any of that shit. That shit is like sprinkles on a cake. Sprinkles don't make the cake. These 3 things are the core ingredients of making a phenomenal cake, which is, in this analogy, YouTube. Your packaging, which is your idea, your title, thumbnail, and hook. Those 4 things. So when I say packaging, is the idea desirable? Is the title framed in a way to get people to click? And is the thumbnail emotional? And the hook, does it reinforce the idea, the title, and the thumbnail? So those 4 things are what the packaging includes. Idea, title, thumbnail, hook. So I spend 70% of my time on the packaging. So if I divide up my week, let's say, 10, let's say I was do 2 at 10 hours, just make math simple. I don't, but let's say 10 hours to make math simple. 7 of those 10 will just be on that core thing. The next thing is watch time. You have to make people watch, right? So once they click, the next metric that matters the most is people watching. Now, because of a podcast, that's very easy. If you ask really engaging questions, if you're switching cameras, you can have pretty high retention if you can be a good host and hold the conversation, or if you're doing a solo podcast, learn how to keep people's attention, right? The more watch time, the more YouTube will push out your videos. The third thing that people don't talk about. Yep.
If you're doing like a virtual one, like, because right now most of my pods all of them are virtual.
Yeah.
Right? So to capture that beginning piece, right, to keep them watching, I've always seen people like take snippets from the inside of the episode, put them at the front of the episode with it regards to like answering a question and kind of leaving it blank. Like, is that editing, at that piece of it? Like, am I editing?
So there's editing out there to hold retention. The better way of doing it is communication to hold retention. So if you think back to the challenge, I don't know about you, but when Omar was talking, I was like, not only because I paid to be there, but I was like, he had my attention the entire time. I think one time I looked at my phone, but like he held the attention. And it's simply because he understands like human psychology. So there's like, we are designed in storytelling. When we open a loop, right, a curiosity loop, we feel compelled to close it. He kept opening these loops. He kept asking questions. Every question opens a loop. So when I say, you want to know the number one thing to succeed when it comes to your content, that's an open loop. Because people are like, what? Well, in this episode, I'm going to reveal that. But first, before I give you the secret, you have to understand why this is important. And then, so number one, so it's opening loops, it's holding conversation. That's a whole nother thing about retention. But like, just for the sake of this, is like, you want to study people like Omar and how he holds the attention span for an hour and a half or an hour, right? And by asking good questions, and if a guest is rambling, which I often do, how can you interrupt them, or how can you input your opinion, or summarize that, or cut it down, or like respectfully, right? Because I've had this too when someone's rambling and they forget the question, and I re-anchor the question. It's like, oh, so how does that relate to this? So like, oh, sorry, And it's like, because I'm respecting the audience more than the guest. So as a host, the audience comes first. Yes, you are a guest on my show, and I will give you the utmost respect. But I respect the audience. So if you are rambling or you are going down a path, I need to respectfully anchor back to what we were talking about. And that's tough. It's not always easy. It depends on the guest. But it's also about picking the right guest, right? So there's a whole different tips around that. But that's the second thing you want to focus on. So packaging, and then the retention. And the third thing for YouTube and how to win is getting them to return. So what I learned from Omar that I forgot was that for a long time, the strategy I had for people was volume to quality. So quantity to quality. Right? And the reason is because you don't know what quality looks like until you have quantity. And I still agree with that at a certain degree. But he also unlocked something for me. He said that you want people to like I'm watching the new Star Wars show right now. There's a new cartoon Star Wars thing about Maul, and it drops every Tuesday. You bet your ass every Tuesday I'm watching that show. I'm ready for it. I'm like, what? Like they left me on a cliffhanger. I'm like, I need to watch more of it, and it's because they do that strategically, right? Because if they release it all at once, I'd watch it and forget it and won't talk about it. But now I'm like, every week I'm showing up at a certain time. And that is, again, human psychology. When you have less access to something, it becomes more desirable. How you get people to return to your show, and this forces you to make the show better because every single episode you try to make better. Now, if you're absolutely new, I say start quantity first, because if you're riding a bike, you're not studying how to ride a bike. You just have to do it and fall and fail. Right? But at a certain point, there's a level where you need to stop doing reps and start doing like more quality. So you have to stop doing volume and do quality, right? So it's just phases. But the third tip that I have for you is you have to get people to return to your channel. So if you get the click, if you get people to stay and watch, and you get people to return to your channel will blow up.